you're talking about youth. Matt was officer friendly at Hayden Heights when my son was in 4th grade. And my son wanted to be a policeman.
Community changes everything. St. Paul Police Department has been focused on being focused on the community. It's not about the number of cops on the street, it's the quality of the cops, and it's the quality of the relationships that they have with the community. And so solving crime really is community driven. One of the one of the things we can do to support folks is to come alongside them as a law enforcement agency. But you got to start with a relationship so that they trust you, they're comfortable, and when the community picks up their piece, and the police department picks up their piece, and other community agencies come alongside, you solve problems long term. That's exciting, and I think we can bring that to the sheriff's office. Another thing that is exciting is the ability to work not just within city boundaries. The sheriff's office has a great opportunity. They go countywide, and you can come alongside agencies in ways that have never been done before. It's unfortunate, but it really hasn't been done that way before. And so that when the chief of New Brighton, who's a friend of mine, the chief of White Bear Lake, who's a friend of mine, the chief of Maplewood is a friend of mine. These are pre-existing relationships. So for me to be part of an agency where we can come alongside those folks and support them in their activities, and then when whatever that mission is solved, those people come back to the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. That's what I want to have happen. I want every agency, when they see a sheriff's deputy coming up in their car, that's the cavalry. Those are the professional folks that are coming in alongside to support that mission, and then they're going to go back. The sheriff's office is uniquely positioned to provide those kinds of services, and it costs nothing more. And it raises the morale and the stature of that agency to where it ought to be. So that part is very exciting. There's some other things that I think about too, and it's that area of fiscal responsibility that we can deliver the highest level of service. We can maintain the costs that we have now. So the 2010 budget, I'm absolutely certain until we get out of these tight economic times, we're going to have the ability to stay within that budget. If everyone else is having a tough time, the sheriff's office can do it too. We can still deliver a high level of service. Innovation through technology is another thing that we can do. Sometimes we talk about, I've heard the term Intel-led policing, and it doesn't quite capture how you solve problems with technology. What you do is you use data. You use the community input, and you use actually that data, and there's tons of it out there. And you start leveraging technology so that you literally are working smarter. The quality of your work improves. The other thing that you do is the sheriff is that place where you can start sharing information. They're the hub that can push information and assist all these other agencies, because if Maplewood has something, it stays within Maplewood, not because they're trying to shut people out, but they don't have a mechanism to share that. The sheriff's office does. So those are the kinds of innovations that you can have through technology. Long term, I think about where does it take us beyond this community building that I think of, and I think the enforcement has a unique, teachers are the only other ones besides law enforcement officers out there, I think, that have this ability to touch young lives that will make a difference long term. And if young kids growing up are having positive experiences with officers and sheriff's deputies, and it starts here, and the consistency with which those visits, that's a friend, that's somebody in the community that makes me more comfortable, and if that's one of our key things is to provide a sense of security in the neighborhood. And when people grow up thinking, when I see an officer or deputy, that's somebody that's there to help, that's somebody I can trust, that's somebody I can count on. What that does is it radiates out to a healthier community because people feel ownership, they feel safer there, they like their police officers, and actually what happens is the other way, is that things start to spiral upward. Because if you like your police officers, the police officers like serving that neighborhood, and each day just continues to improve and the tide rises. Sheriff's deputies are one of those places that they do a lot of volunteer work. They have a lot of reserves that get out and do public events. Those are the kinds of things the sheriff I would like to be able to support and celebrate those events, as opposed to having them do that maybe on the side or just because they have a sense of duty to do those kinds of things. Once again, costs nothing more. They're excited to do those kinds of things. We're gonna cut these folks loose to do those kinds of things. And then the other piece is encouraging diversity. If you know anything about me, I do a lot of coaching and have over the years. And as I've looked back on my best teams that I've ever coached, what you would see is this spectrum of kids from every single background in the city of St. Paul. Those were my championship teams. I had some really good teams, but the championship teams were those ones that were reflective of our community. When I look back inside of my managerial positions inside the police department, I watched the same thing happen, is that each one of those divisions or each one of those units that has thrived has had a variety of voices, gender, ethnicity, experience, education. Those are the things that brought the vitality that we needed, the different perspectives, and sure enough, we succeeded in ways that we never thought we could do before. So if that's true in the community, and if that's true in my experience, that's exactly what I think is the absolute necessity for the sheriff's office. When you walk into the sheriff's office at the highest level, you should be able to see somebody that looks like you. And so when I talk about encouraging diversity, I'm committed to it. And so it's with those comments, as you can tell, I got a lot more than don't talk about. But I really do appreciate your willingness to hear me out. I'm excited about this. I hope that you sense my enthusiasm. And again, this invitation to participate tonight, that you would come and do this, means a lot to me. And I'm eager to have you along as we make our way through into next November. So again, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you.